All right, Steeler fans, welcome back to the second half. It is time for the sometimes it's fun for me, sometimes it's not. The over/under game. I can't remember what I did last week. I know I went out on my own. I'm looking at the lines from last week that I set, so I can't blame anyone but myself. What did we do last week, Dave?
Well, Jeff, here's the deal. You did 6 lines.
Yes.
There were 2 of them that all 3 of us agreed.
Okay.
And those were the only 2 you got wrong.
Ooh.
You were 4 for 6, where Brian and I, we were 2 for 6.
Oh, don't call it a comeback.
Oh, no, wait a second. No, those were the only 2 that we all 3 agreed on that we were over. Sorry. We all had one that we all agreed on that was under, and that was right. And that was Rudolph TD passes. So Jeff got 4, Brian and I each got 2. That means I'm still in the lead. This is really coming down to the end of it. Sorry, Brian. Jeff passed you. I've got 36. Jeff has 33. Brian has 32.
Oh, man, this is great.
Mm-hmm. LL Cool J, ladies love Cool Jeff. Is that you just don't call
Jeff
it a
just
comeback?
loves it because see, now I'll be honest with you. The way this should work is because I'm in the lead. I should get to go last. So Jeff just can't go opposite. I'm kidding. I don't care. I want to keep it the same order. I do my lines regardless of what you guys pick.
Okay.
So I was just going to say Jeff should just go opposite of me on everything to see if he can make it up.
Okay, I'm inspired by this. Now, Jeff is doing LL Cool J, don't call it a comeback. And he's claiming he's been here for years. I'm just going to say Mama said knock you out.
There you go. I love it.
Well, I love this week. Knock you both out so we can sorry.
I love the fact that this is still close. It's all like within striking distance. Bruce,
I love the fact that this isn't necessarily the last week. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope you have more of an opportunity to catch up.
True.
More, Jeff.
That is true. Do y'all think that that's an underrated Bruce Willis movie, Striking Distance? I think that's kind of underrated.
Where was it filmed?
I liked it.
Because it's all about Pittsburgh. That's well, you like.
Well, but the movie itself, I mean,
Sally Wiggins in the movie.
It's not Nakatomi Plaza, but it's pretty good.
And Little Red Riding Hood playing that song in there. Yeah, that's a good. Those kind of those serial movies with the cop and like he's on the Three Rivers. Oh, that's good. Now it's better. It's better than that ice hockey one with Van Damme.
Sudden Death. Sudden Death.
Come on, I love Sudden
The Igloo.
Death. Hey, I love it just because it's penguins and stuff.
They played the Blackhawks in that movie. The Blackhawks were played by the Wheeling Thunderbirds. They went up and actually played. They acted the hockey scenes out. So that's who played the Blackhawks. And they think they got Johnstown to be the Penguins, Brian. I'm being honest. Yeah. All right. Anyway, it's enough movie talk. This isn't Siskel and Ebert. So let's go. Over/under game. Are you ready? Let's start off with Rudy touchdown passes. That's Mason Rudolph. I got it with 1.5. 1.5, Brian. I'm thinking about the weather. Thought this would be a good line. What do you think?
I know where you guys are going to go, so I'm just going for broke. I'm going to say I don't believe in this, but I'm going to go over. Let's go with 2.
Okay. Dave?
Well, because you know where I'm going to go based on the weather. Now, if you would have said Rudolph overall touchdowns, that would have been a little bit different. Because I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up sneaking one in or something at some point. But for me, based on that, I'm going with the safe bet of going under.
I too am going under. I'm thinking it's going to be 1, but we'll see. Brian, you might be right. Every now and then
I'd love to see it. I hope you're right so bad, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go with Pittsburgh Steelers team rushing. Team rushing had a big outing last week of over 200 yards. I've got the line this week at 145.5. Ravens do have a good defense, although they're not going to be playing a lot of players. You think you're going to lean on the running game? 145.5, Brian, over under.
I'm actually going to go with 144. I'm going to take the under, but barely. That's a good day at the office, and we've been talking about this the last 3 weeks. When you're taking the Steelers in the under, and that's still not that bad, not that shabby.
Dave, what do you think?
I'm gonna take the over because I think they can get the 150.
I'm gonna go under.
You should go over
slightly under. Slightly under. So,
that's a good line, though. I think you did that there.
Thank you. Let's go with Jorgito Pickens receiving yards, and I went with this is again. It's just you don't know where to go. I'm going 90.5. 90.5. Brian, what do you think?
I'm going to go under, but barely. He's just gone off the last 2 games. That's a hard thing to keep on doing. So he's gonna have a great game, but let me go under. And there's some gamesmanship in it for me too.
Okay, Dave.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well this time, just because I don't know how easy it's going to be to pass the ball. I'm thinking of snow. If it doesn't snow, then everything that I'm doing is just off. But it's just what's in my mind. Therefore, I could see him. Could he bust one and break it away and get a bunch of yards? Yes, he could. But based on my 1.5 touchdown passes going under, I'm going to go under on this one as well.
Jorgito, over. Let's do it. I mean, hey, he went off last year in sub-zero temperatures on Christmas Eve against the Raiders. So let's do it again. Let's have a good game.
Well, do you think if it's snowing, do you think that Rudolph might be a little bit less likely to just chuck it deep to him when he's not sure what's going on?
I think
he'll look for the more open guy in Deontay Johnson short.
I don't think snow impacts the game as much as rain does in terms of passing the football. I think that the football's not going to be like overly wet. They rotate him in enough. No, I think if he sees one-on-one coverage, he's going to throw it to George.
Okay.
Jorgito. All right. Let's go with the next one. Pittsburgh Steelers sacking Ravens quarterbacks. I've got that line. This is disappointing for me. I feel like this is easy money, but I don't know anymore. 2.5 is what I have the line right now with Steelers sacks. Brian, what do you think?
This is a tough one. I could very easily see them get 3, but I watched them just get 1 last week. It looked like they could have had 6 or 7, and they were just missing. Let me go under.
Okay, Dave?
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to go over. My biggest concern is if Baltimore doesn't throw the ball enough to get to 3 sacks. But I think if the Steelers can get a lead and Baltimore feels like they need to throw it occasionally, then the Steelers could maybe get to them and maybe erase that mentality. I'm just going to go with it. I'll go over. The Steelers have had a lot of sacks to end the season at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going over. The only caveat is if the NFL is going to screw the Steelers like they did TJ Watt when he was trying to break the record and saying that Tyler Huntley was a runner and not a passer, and that still sticks in my craw a little bit. So I'm going to go over, and hopefully we don't have that situation for Mr. Trent Jordan Watt. Let's go to the last one here. Steelers takeaways, getting the ball back. I've got the line at 1.5. Brian, what do you think?
I actually like the over on this one. I don't think Baltimore is going to be as careful with the ball as they would with Lamar Jackson in there. And you have a lot of your sure-handed guys sitting out. So I can see some turnovers here.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. Same reason.
I'm actually gonna go under. Got under at 1. So I do think they get a takeaway, but I don't think it's going to be 2. So there you have it. That's the over/under game. We'll see how things pan out with the standings here. I think we actually varied a little bit in those picks, so we'll see. Let's get.
We did not have a single pick where we all 3 agreed.
Oh, I love it. So now we have to talk about the actual game picks. So the Steelers, the last time I looked, which this was yesterday, the Steelers were giving 4 points. Now if that line changed, I didn't see it. So I've got Steelers -4 with a total of 35. 35 is the total that I had when I checked. That was via DraftKings Sportsbook. So, Brian, how do you see this game shaking out, and what's your prediction?
I'm going to be short and sweet with this. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. And I was not picking this early on, but when I see that injury report and I see when it comes down to it, maybe in the first quarter, you might see flashes of Raven machismo, but after it, when the licks start, getting kicked in, when they start getting beat up a little bit and they look at the big picture, I'm not talking about my show on the NFL affiliate here at FFSN, but if they look at the big picture, download it wherever you do your favorite podcast. If they look at the big picture, what we're going to say is, you can quit without quitting, and you don't have to give your all in this game if you're Baltimore, and Pittsburgh's going to be going for it. It's going to be a close one, but they're going to be going for it. So let's go ahead and pick this game. I can't even remember what you said was the over and under. I don't care. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm thinking that this is a Steelers 23, Ravens 20 game.
Oh, very nice.
So that's the over.
23-20. Yes, that is over.
I'm doing what I did last week, and I'm going with that the Steelers will do what they need to do. They're going to win it because they need to. If they don't, they'll, oh my goodness, that'll be a really fun post-game show with the Ravens resting players, which I still think is a bit of a mistake because I've talked about that before. I'd have played it like a preseason game and had them play a series or two. Because honestly, whoever gets the Ravens the first week of the playoffs, you'll have an advantage there. If you can start hot. But I'm going a very similar score that I did last week, just because, I don't have the Steelers hitting. I was going to have the Steelers hitting 30 points again, but because of the snow, I decided to back that off just a little bit. I've got Steelers 27-16 in a game that's not all that close.
Hope you're right. Obviously,
remember, the Steelers, the Ravens have only lost 3 games this year. They lost a 3-point game. Was that in overtime to Indy? A 2-point game to Cleveland. Their biggest loss of the season was a 7-point loss to the Steelers.
It's hard to believe. They've had a good year. Obviously, y'all know I'm going to pick the Steelers. That's not breaking news. As the only real fan on this show. So, with that being said,
week in, week out fan.
Yeah, there you go. I like the Steelers in this game. I think it's going to be close. I think that the Ravens are not going to just lay down and die. I think there is going to be a lot of fight in those backups even. They're going to want to prove themselves. They want to prove themselves against Pittsburgh. I've got the Steelers winning, though, 27-20. 27-20. So definitely the over. I don't think the snow is going to be as big as of a factor as maybe we think it will be. Those NFL teams and stadiums do a great job keeping the surface relatively dry for the most part. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to watch the Steelers play at least one more game. So we'll hopefully get more than that, but we'll see how that shakes out. So, Brian, you have trivia, yes?
Let's have some fun with trivia today. And it's not going to be what everybody thinks I'm going to do with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I'm going to talk about the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers have 3 players going to the Pro Bowl. It was announced this week. And we're looking at a first time for Mr. Miles Killebrew. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to say how many times, but Minka Fitzpatrick is in the mix. He's going. And so is Trent Jordan-Watt. He is going as well. The hope is that these guys don't play in it and they're in the Super Bowl and don't have to worry about playing in this game. But that's a lot to ask. The question I'm going to ask is, since the year 2000, since the new millennium, the Pittsburgh Steelers have had how many combined Pro Bowl nods? So if one player has 10, that counts as 10. How many do you think?
Since 2000?
Yes.
I'm going to go with since 2000, so that's 23.
24. If you count.
And we're counting this year too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm counting 2000.
So that's 24.
Right. I'm going to go with this number's coming to my head. 107.
I had a number come to my head. I was going 117.
Oh, okay.
116.
Oh, I win.
You didn't say without going over.
Yeah, but this is Price is Right rule.
Price is Right rules always apply.
Wow, I was just doing the math in my head about averaging how many per year. Some years there's a bunch, other years there's not as many. So I just rolled with it.
38 guys. Now, of those guys, who has had the most entries? And I have the top 15 here. And who do you think's number one?
The most Pro Bowl nods since 2000.
Yes.
I'm going to say Mr. Troy Polamalu.
That's what I was going to go, but another person that would be up there would be Mr. Marquise Pouncey.
That's another good guess.
Troy Polamalu is number 2 with 8. Marquise Pouncey is number 1 with 9.
Boom!
Good job, Dave.
Because the only 2 years he wasn't a Pro Bowler was the 2 years where he was the one he didn't play at all because he got hurt in the preseason. The other he only played 8 snaps and then got hurt. Other than that, he was a Pro Bowler every year.
Okay, the tied for third, 2 guys with 7. Who are they?
That's got to be AB. He's got to be one of them.
Antonio Brown, James Harrison.
Nope.
Antonio
Brown. Antonio Brown is correct.
Antonio Brown. I don't know that Ben's made
is it Ben?
Pro Bowls.
It is.
He's
not
been
Ben.
not Ben.
Because he would be a replacement a lot. It's not AB.
No, it is AB.
This was 7. Oh no, yeah, it's AB. And who's the other one? Was 7 with the Steelers.
Get dirty. Get in the trenches.
Would it be DeCastro?
Alan Faneca.
Well, I didn't, because when did Alan Faneca's first would have been in? Did he
2003?
No, this counts as, I believe, it was 2001, if I'm not mistaken.
I couldn't remember if he was, because I was thinking someone like Hines Ward, but he started before 2000.
Well, let's talk. No, Hines Ward didn't get in before 2000.
Yeah.
He started in 1998, but he didn't get in. Let's talk about the guys tied for the next spot with 6. There's 4 of them, and 2 you haven't mentioned yet.
So there's 4 people tied with 6.
Yes, 4 people tied with 6. Yes.
So we have mentioned some of these players already.
You've mentioned 2 of them, and 2 you have not.
I think DeCastro's got to be up there.
DeCastro is.
Okay.
What about Captain Cam?
Cam
Hayward.
is. Yes.
Okay.
6.
Yeah, because last year was number 6 for him. I'm trying to think. Is it TJ?
TJ?
No.
It
is TJ 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote that article.
And one more.
Okay.
One more.
Pro Bowler.
Is it Debo? Does he have 6?
It is not Debo.
Gosh, how many does he have?
We'll talk about that.
How long are we going on this list?
We're closing. We're close to the end here. It's a big one.
Literally?
Yes.
Big Snack?
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
But let's answer your question real quick. You just said Big Snack Hampton. He has 5. He's tied with Debo with 5. There's 2 more that I want to talk about. The 2 tied at 4. I don't think you've mentioned these guys' names.
At 4? I think Minka has 4, but some of them are not with Pittsburgh, right?
Nope, they're all with Pittsburgh.
Okay, so Minka's 1. Minka's one of them.
Minka is 1, yes.
You said with 4?
Yep.
Hines Ward in that?
Hines Ward with 4.
Hines Ward. See, I know, because I was going to say, I think Bettis had 4, but a couple of them would have been before 2000.
Bettis is counting as 2 in the 2000s.
2 in the 2000s. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not going to make you guess. We're going to round out the top 15 because they're the ones that have 3. It's Le'Veon Bell, Joey Porter, and Jason Gilden.
Oh, nice.
Everybody else has 2 or 1.
Gilden, his would have been right at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, he's counted. I just looked at. He had some in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't know if he did in the 90s or not, but yeah. That would have been right at the beginning of it. I don't always remember him.
Yeah.
All right, Dave.
I will tell you for sure later, but go ahead.
Yeah.
And Chris Boswell got screwed this year again. Anyways, go ahead.
He was better than Justin Tucker this year.
Absolutely. So, all right, Dave, you have trivia. Go ahead.
Yes, I do. If you guys paid attention to something that I asked before, you should hopefully maybe know the answer to this one. I'm going to try to keep this quick, because I really want to do it to make another point. But under head coach Mike Tomlin, during the regular season, what is the Steelers' record in Baltimore?
Can you say that again, please?
In the regular
During
season?
the regular season, under head coach Mike Tomlin, what is the Steelers' record in Baltimore?
I'm going to say
it's going to be 16 games, just so you know.
8-8.
No, I think he's won more than he's lost. I'm going to say 9. You said 16 games?
Yes.
So I'm going to say 9-7.
All right, because if you guys remembered a couple weeks or so ago, I had said something that, hey, if the Steelers can win in Baltimore, that would actually tie the Browns for the most wins on the road, and that would have been to get to 9 because he is currently 8-8. Okay. But here's what's interesting about this one. What do you think Coach Tomlin's record is in the last 6 games in Baltimore?
Well, that's actually pretty okay. Wait, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, and 18.
So it's from 2017 on.
So I will tell you this. We know that there was that loss, and there was that loss with the Duck Hodges that we talked about in 19. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to say 5-1.
Okay, Jeff said 4-2. Brian says 5-1, and they are 5-1. Wow. In the last 6 games in Baltimore. The Steelers actually have won. I didn't have time to look up this to see if there's any other team that the Steelers have a current winning streak that's longer than what they have against the Ravens in away, because they've won the last 3 in Baltimore. They don't have that against Cincinnati or Cleveland. So I would have to go into teams that they only play every few years if they would have a better streak. But the Steelers have been playing well in Baltimore for quite some time, because I think that last loss, they lost that Duck game where he fumbled it away at the end of the first half, and just everything was downhill from there. But then the last one before that, there was one in 2016, and then the one where they lost 21-14. Then they had that 20-17 loss, which was that infamous. I was there for that one.
The Ryan Mallett.
Ryan, you were there too. Yeah, the Ryan Mallett.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
But yeah, we were both there.
We didn't know each other at the time, but we were both there. But yeah, they've really turned around and done well in Baltimore. So trying to give you all some hope going into Saturday.
There you go. Did you want to, Dave? Was that going to tie into your final thoughts or no?
I mean,
you said you wanted to make a point. I didn't know if you were going to just
just the point that they've been doing really well in Baltimore. But I can do my final thoughts right now if you're ready for it.
Sure, go ahead. Why not?
Yeah, my final thoughts are there's just something about. I'm excited for us to get the snow here. There's just something exciting about sitting, inside in a warm house, maybe under my Steelers blanket or something, and getting to watch a football game during a snowstorm. There's just something about it. I'm really looking forward to it. My whole family's been kind of down for the count, under the weather. I'd say under the weather. We've been pretty sick, honestly, the last couple days. But I'm just wanting to shake that off and enjoy one more Steelers game. Now, can they make the playoffs? They can. Will they? We'll just have to see. But just like so many other years, so I've heard some fans say, I'm so tired of hearing about the Steelers, ending the season on a high note, but they don't make the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. I get that, but that's what you want to be doing if you're going to have success in the playoffs, is to finish strong, finish on a high note. Unfortunately, you had those 3 games in there that they just completely crapped the bed. If it wasn't for that, the Steelers would be controlling their own destiny. But all you can do is go with what you have right now, what they can do going forward. And as much as anything, whether it works out for them or not, I want to see the Steelers play well to finish out the season, the regular season, and then hopefully we'll just see how it falls. Hopefully we'll get some bonus football next week.
There you go. Brian, final thoughts.
What is it you want as a Steeler fan? And that is really what we're looking for in my final thoughts today. It's like, when it comes down to it, you love this team, and there's nobody here that doesn't love this team, that is on this live chat every single week, that listens to Fans First Sports Network, Steel Curtain Network, if they do not have a passion for this team. Everybody's passion is different. Some just want to be right. Some want them to lose for change, and some don't care if this team's 0-16. They want them to win that last game because it's just in your fiber to root for this team. Like Dave said, there's nothing better than when the Steelers are in contention at the end. Not trying to over promote the fact that I was on Stat Geek this morning, but go back and listen to it. Not to listen to me, but it's amazing how important that last and final game was for the Pittsburgh Steelers since the year 2000. And there were a lot before that. But there are so many things that had to happen, and the Steelers would end up getting in there. If you have the phrase on your cranium right now that tells you and tells the world that doesn't matter if they win, they're just going to go to the playoffs and get smoked against Miami or Kansas City. Yeah, but go to the dance, and you never know what could happen. The hot girl's date could get mono. And she's standing there alone and wants somebody to dance and see your moves. And next thing you know, that homecoming king crown is on your head and you're celebrating. Back in 2005, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the last team to get in the playoffs. They needed things to happen. They got in as a 6th seed and they won the whole darn thing. Am I saying that's going to happen? No, I'm not going to say, but wouldn't it be great if it did? And wouldn't it be awesome if it did? And how would you feel if it did? Well, you know how you'd feel. You would be screaming and loving life, and everything would taste better. That's what you have going on this weekend. Doesn't matter if they end the season 10-7, 9-8, whatever. If they get in there, it's going to be beautiful, and you're going to have something to root for. And it's not watching another team that you don't give a rat's ass about in the playoffs for the Super Bowl. Thank you.
There you go. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we will be back, the three of us, on Saturday evening for the post-game show. Make sure you check us out there. Make sure you check out all of our content, all of our shows, both on YouTube as well as on our audio side. We do appreciate all the support of the Steel Curtain Network. I want to give a big shout out. This is the rounding out our very first season at the Steel Curtain Network. So for everyone that's stuck around with us, for everyone that's checked out steelcurtainnetwork.com, thank you. Because when we jumped off that ship and we jumped off, we didn't know, hey, what's going to happen? It's been a success. It's been a lot of fun, and that's thanks to you. So thank you very much. So my final thoughts are this: go Steelers, go Titans, and go Dolphins. That's it. Dave, why don't you send us out like you always do?
Hey.
We will see you next week.